Lloyd has been a supporter of most progressive ideas in this community and has, in a quiet way, always been somebody who you could count on.
Lloyd was and is to this day my image of somebody who respects the law, but more importantly, respects the people in front of him.
The idea of legal services to the poor, I think for many of us today, seems fairly acceptable and universal, and I would say many would be surprised that at one point it was as controversial as it in fact was. And it was very gratifying being in some of those battles to know that we had the legal community behind us, and people like Lloyd Lochridge and some of his peers were certainly at the forefront, and stalwarts who stood by us and helped keep that organization, the whole concept of legal services to the poor, alive and flourishing in our state and our country.
You know, he has given a tremendous amount of his time to the profession through both the state bar and the ABA, but that has never stopped him from being a full-time lawyer while he's doing it.
In 1974, because of the Watergate and Sharpstown scandals, the legal profession and the legitimacy of governmental institutions were under assault. The public was tired about hearing corruption and was losing faith in government and the legal profession. It was into this environment that Lloyd Lochridge was elected president of the State Bar of Texas. In the Texas Bar Journal, Lloyd's first column to Texas lawyers instructed readers that to earn back credibility, lawyers must first ensure that they are following the highest ethics and professional values.
This, I think, is, and when writing his first page as president of the bar, Lloyd epitomized his, to me, his lifetime approach and the many innovations he was able to really jumpstart while he was president. And this is an exact quote from his letter. As lawyers, we have a great opportunity and duty. It is time for restoration of confidence. Like respect, it must be earned and not demanded. We can begin by being sure that our own integrity and competence are maintained at the highest possible level. We must answer our critics and detractors with what must be the truth. That is, that we are professionals with high standards, that we are defenders of the best judicial system yet devised, and that we are seeking constantly to improve both the system and ourselves, and also the delivery of legal services, which is our basic function. And that's delivery of services, and that's the end of quotation, but it's the delivery of services to those who need it, both those who can pay for it and those who can't pay for it.
Lloyd was the lead attorney in the early days of the Austin School District desegregation case, and it was a very difficult case. It was a high interest in the community. Everyone paid attention. People had school kids and wanted to know what was going to happen, and it was a difficult time in the nation because all these other cases were going on and influenced this case. And Lloyd always set a tone in the early part where there was no shouting, there was no demands to save the school system. It was, we want to do what's right for the kids and parents and community. And he really demonstrated that to me, and I felt like every time I went into the courthouse in front of Judge Roberts early on, Judge Nowlin later on, that I went in there with the reputation of Lloyd Lochridge following me, if you will, and made it easier because they knew that I was going to do the representation in the way that Lloyd and this law firm would have it done.
It was the right thing to do, and you could always pretty well count on Lloyd doing whatever was the right thing.
And I'd also suggest that anybody that thinks that Lloyd doesn't really get into things to prevail has never watched him play squash or tennis, because he is in the game at all times, but he always plays with due adherence to all rules. And so that's kind of been the way he's lived his life, and it was a delight to be a young lawyer learning from him.
Squash playing resumed in May, in the second week in May in 1964. And with the grace of God, we continued to play for 44 years until 44 and a quarter years until August 2008. And when our physical condition and other things required that we
Hit him all the time around the office. In fact, one time we had a Christmas party and the staff did a skit, because when Lloyd sees anyone, he always says good morning and has a greeting for them. So the skit went off, and it was Lloyd walking in the office, and they would say, "Hello, desk. Good morning, chair. Good morning, table." They just take it to the extreme. But Lloyd is a great lawyer. He's a great person. And I think it's very appropriate that Inn of Court be named for him, because he epitomizes the best there is in this profession. Okay, that's easy. Well, he's pretty easy fellow to talk about.